Imagine a world where every moment of your day is devoted to seeking pleasure, constant satisfaction, and an endless stream of entertainment are created for all your desires. Now ask yourself, what price are you willing to pay for this? Can the relentless pursuit of happiness lead not to freedom, but to enslavement? Today we will explore how the pursuit of pleasures, as warned by Aldous Huxley, can become a form of modern slavery. We will study eternal wisdom and modern psychology to show how the pursuit of comfort and satisfaction can quietly deprive us of freedom and humanity. Let's embark on a journey to understand the hidden dangers of pleasure and how to reclaim freedom in a world that seeks to keep us chained to fleeting desires. Aldous Huxley, in his famous book Brave New World, paints a frightening picture of a dystopia where humanity has given up autonomy for the illusion of happiness. Citizens are pacified with soma, a drug that Aldous Huxley believed that people in his world were kept content, not by chains or prisons, but by pleasure so strong no one wanted to resist it. He argued this kind of control is the most dangerous because it hides itself in enjoyment and comfort, making people unaware of their loss of freedom. Now consider the society we live in today. From constant notifications to endless social media scrolling, aren't we offered a similar form of pleasure and control? Psychologists like Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, known for his work on the concept of flow, warn that technology can create engaging moments, but also trap us in addictive cycles. Algorithms feed us personalized videos, ads, and content designed to keep us hooked. Yet this leaves us feeling empty and unfulfilled in the end. Think about how often you grab your phone for a quick joy fix, only to realize hours have passed, leaving you drained instead of satisfied. The pursuit of pleasure has a dark side called the hedonic treadmill, a psychological concept explaining how we quickly return to a baseline happiness level. No matter how much happiness we gain, we adapt quickly, and our contentment returns to normal, pushing us to seek more pleasure without lasting satisfaction. We often seek joy in a delicious meal or a thrilling experience, but the happiness fades quickly, and the craving for the next fix begins again. In Huxley's terms, we become prisoners to our own desires, constantly chasing satisfaction that remains just out of reach, never fully content with what we have. This struggle is not just theoretical. Research shows a troubling link between modern conveniences and declining mental health, revealing a real crisis in our society today. A study from 2020 in the Journal of Affective Disorders found that excessive screen time, especially on social media, is linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression. Even more alarming is how this cycle feeds itself. The more disconnected and unhappy we become, the more we seek comfort in the very devices that increase our misery. What is the true cost of this endless pursuit of pleasure? Philosopher Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, argued that true fulfillment comes not from happiness, but from finding purpose. Frankl believed that when people lack meaning in their lives, they seek distractions that only deepen their existential void, making their unhappiness even worse. Ask yourself, are you living a life of purpose, or have you unknowingly allowed the endless pursuit of pleasure to take control of your existence? The question of whether to dictate your choices is not just philosophical, but deeply practical. Every day we decide, watch another series, or spend time with loved ones. Should we scroll endlessly through our phones or invest time in personal growth? These small moments, seemingly insignificant, build the framework of our entire lives. Aldous Huxley once said, "Most humans have an almost infinite capacity to take things for granted. In constant pursuit of pleasure, we risk missing deeper joys. We take for granted the deeper joys of life, relationships, creativity, self-discovery, and contributing to something greater than ourselves. These give life meaning beyond pleasure." Here is a powerful insight. Pleasure, when chased recklessly, does not bring freedom. Instead, it creates invisible chains that are just as real and binding. These chains tie us to habits, cravings, and distractions. They drain our energy, time, and potential, making us prisoners of fleeting satisfaction. This is a journey of understanding and self-liberation. What lies ahead will change your perception of the world and yourself. Imagine a market where the currency is your attention. In this world, the most valuable thing is not gold, oil, or technology, but you. Every moment spent scrolling or clicking means you are not just watching content. You become a commodity that is bought and sold. Welcome to the attention economy, a system fueled by your addiction to pleasure and an endless cycle of consumption. To understand how deeply the system controls us, we need to study how it exploits our biology. Neurobiologist Dr. Robert Sapolsky studies stress and dopamine. Our brain is wired to seek rewards. Every time we experience pleasure, the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that reinforces behavior. It could be the pleasure of likes under a post, the joy of a new purchase, or the thrill of a won game. This dopamine surge creates a feedback loop that makes us come back again. Here's the catch. The anticipation of pleasure often triggers more dopamine than the pleasure itself. That's why we eagerly await. We are not hooked by outcomes, but by the possibility of reward, turning us into perpetual seekers, always yearning yet never fully satisfied in our daily digital lives. Have you ever checked your phone without noticing or craved a snack, a video, or validation, only to feel hollow afterward? These are not coincidences. These experiences are carefully engineered. Tristan Harris, former Google design ethicist, explains platforms exploit vulnerabilities with intermittent variable rewards, like those in slot machines. This mechanism keeps us addicted, constantly seeking small, unpredictable rewards, making us return again and again without real satisfaction. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World showed pleasure pursuit as a societal control tool, where desires consume people, making them ignore loss of autonomy. Today, we face a similar threat. Digital distractions flood our lives, pacifying us and keeping us compliant without physical chains. Though we may not be physically restrained, the flood of distractions serves the same purpose: control and compliance in a digital age. The pursuit of pleasure, when uncontrolled, not only wastes our time, but also steals our potential. Choosing fleeting joys over meaningful goals sacrifices growth and learning opportunities. Author Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, explains how shallow use of technology weakens our focus and ability to master skills. Newport believes the greatest rewards come not from easy pleasures, but from sustained effort and deep focus. Ask yourself, How much time do you spend on activities that truly enrich your life? How often do you choose instant satisfaction over long-term fulfillment? These questions are not meant to shame, but to awaken awareness. Recognizing our habits is the first step to reclaiming freedom. However, breaking free is difficult. Our system encourages pleasure-seeking and normalizes it consistently. Ads promise instant joy. Culture equates success with wealth. We are constantly told that having more is better. Philosopher Erich Fromm, in his book To Have or to Be, warned against this trap. Fromm argued that modern society's obsession with possession over being leads to a shallow and unfulfilling existence. True joy is replaced by empty satisfaction from possession. What alternative path exists? It all begins with a change in thinking, from seeking pleasure to seeking the meaning of life. This does not mean giving up joy or pleasures, but rethinking their role. Psychologist Martin Seligman proved that the happiest lives are connected with meaning, engagement, and relationships. Pleasure is part of the equation, but not its entire essence. Stop and think. What brings you true joy? Not fleeting, but the kind that lasts long. True joy comes from creativity, communication, and contributing to something important. Can you name an area of life where short-term pleasures hinder your long-term development? We will delve into practical ways to break free from the chains of the attention economy and rediscover the power of mindful living. For now, remember, the pursuit of pleasure without measure is a path to slavery. To be truly free, one must learn to distinguish what brings joy from what destroys. The answers are not in the next distraction, but in silence and mindfulness. Moments of self-reflection invite us to continue this journey together, exploring how we can reclaim our time, our focus, and ultimately, our lives. What follows will challenge beliefs about happiness and freedom. Now let's delve deeper into the psychological and philosophical consequences of a life driven by the pursuit of pleasure. This path changes how we think about existence. Thinkers like Aldous Huxley and modern psychologists teach us that unchecked hedonism does not merely enslave individuals, but also reshapes entire societies fundamentally. Consider the concept of soft tyranny, often describing control that feels comforting rather than oppressive. This subtle control changes freedom's meaning in society. Alexis de Tocqueville warned that people might willingly surrender freedoms for comfort and security, a warning echoed in today's democratic societies. This vision matches exactly what Huxley imagined in Brave New World, a society lulled into compliance not by fear or force, but through pleasure and distraction. Observe our world today. Daily bombardment by promises of ease, smart devices thinking for us, and apps delivering instant gratification constantly. A culture glorifying convenience above all else makes life more comfortable, but also increases our dependence, reducing the effort we put into living fully. The more power we give to those who control these systems, the stronger our dependence becomes. But there is a hidden danger in this. It doesn't feel like enslavement, but like progress. This feeling is pleasant, and that is exactly why it is so dangerous. As Aldous Huxley wrote, The most effective totalitarian regime is when power controls people who love their slavery. Think about how this applies to your life. How many decisions do you make freely? And how many are dictated by algorithms, trends, or social expectations? When was the last time you consciously chose discomfort for growth, rather than the easy path? This problem is not only personal, the consequences of a pleasure culture spread further. These consequences affect relationships, communities, and even the planet. Philosopher Søren Kard described this as the despair of aesthetic life, when people seek beauty and pleasure, forgetting about meaning. He claimed that true satisfaction is achieved through embracing an ethical life, a life with purpose, commitments, and high ideals. Imagine two roads. One is smooth and comfortable, leading to a life of instant gratification, but with little substance and meaning. The other is rocky, steep, and challenging. The steep road requires effort and sacrifice, but offers growth, deep connections, and a legacy. Which road are you choosing in your life right now? Modern psychology confirms Kagard's ideas. Research shows that people who set goals for personal growth, relationships, and contribution feel happier. Those who chase external rewards, wealth, fame, status, are usually less satisfied. Why does this happen in our culture? Consumer society is built on dissatisfaction. If we were truly content, we wouldn't need the latest gadgets and trendy products. Advertisers sell not just products, but lifestyles. They make us believe that happiness is always available after one purchase. The truth is that no external pleasures can fill the inner void. Many, having everything, remain unsatisfied. The famous psychologist K.L. Jung said, "People are willing to do anything, even absurd things, to avoid facing their own soul." This unending struggle is the cause of much suffering and the feeling of emptiness in life. The choice of path is yours. The easy road or the difficult one leading to true meaning and joy. The pursuit of pleasure often serves as an escape from the harder but more rewarding task of self-discovery. How can we break free from this cycle? It begins with awareness. We must recognize the systems and behaviors that enslave us to pleasure and prevent real growth. Awareness alone is not enough. We must take deliberate, sometimes uncomfortable steps toward reclaiming control over our lives. Start small. Turn off notifications, set boundaries with technology, and choose meaningful activities over mindless distractions. Though these actions seem small, they are revolutionary in a world designed to keep you distracted and disengaged. Ask yourself, what would life look like if you prioritized meaning over pleasure? What habits would you need to change? To walk the path of growth instead of instant gratification requires shifting mindsets and daily habits. As we approach the final part of this journey, we will explore the profound insight that can break us free. This ultimate revelation can transform not only how you live, but who you are at your core. Stay with us, because the most important lesson is still ahead. The heart of reclaiming our freedom. A world that thrives on our dependence on pleasures requires understanding a profound truth. True freedom comes not from unrestrained desires, but from the discipline of choosing what matters. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." This thought became the cornerstone of liberation and the meaning of life. When we anchor life to a deep purpose, the fleeting allure of pleasures loses its power over us. Purpose is the compass that guides through distractions and temptations. Consider the lives of people with lasting impact, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and Martin Luther King Jr. Their greatness lies not in seeking comfort, but in striving for something greater. They remind us that the deepest joys come from service, creativity, and perseverance, not from instant pleasures. But how do you find your why in a world that pulls us in different directions? Viktor Frankl offers a path in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Frankl describes 3 sources of meaning: creating something valuable, experiencing love and connection, and accepting inevitable suffering. Finding growth in suffering requires us to look beyond ourselves and our immediate desires, inviting a deep immersion in life and meaningful engagement with it. Start with questions. What legacy do I want to leave? How can I use my strengths to help others? How can I turn difficulties into opportunities for growth? These questions are not easy, but they change life. By seeking answers, you take the first steps toward liberation from the chains of pleasures and enter a life with purpose. Now let's move on to the most important insight that ties everything together. The pursuit of pleasure is tempting, but distracts from the search for deeper meaning. True happiness, as Aristotle believed, comes from eudaimonia, a life of flourishing based not on endless pleasure, but on virtue, wisdom, and mindfulness. To live such a life, we need discipline, the ability to choose long-term rewards over immediate pleasures, the strength to say no to the easy and yes to the right. As author Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom. It is the key to a life filled with meaning and true joy. Through discipline, we gain mastery over impulses and begin living as creators of our destinies, not prisoners of desires. Cultivate discipline by building small, consistent habits daily. Wake up a little earlier to meditate or reflect. Set aside time each day to pursue meaningful goals. Limit exposure to distractions draining energy and attention. Small acts of self-control seem insignificant, but create ripple effects that gradually reshape life. These tiny habits lead to profound personal transformation over time. Embrace discomfort, as growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Push physical limits, learn new skills, or face difficult truths to achieve greatness and avoid mediocrity. Willingness to endure discomfort separates achievers from those settling for less. Discipline over indulgence strengthens purposeful living and self-control in every choice. Resisting distractions reclaims freedom. These small choices are acts of rebellion against a world profiting from complacency and distraction. Let us conclude with Aldous Huxley's warning about a world where pleasure is used to control and pacify humanity. This tool of control makes people trade their freedom for comfort and their potential for convenience. Yet, he believed in humanity's awareness and resistance. You have the power to break free by choosing purpose over pleasure, discipline over indulgence, and meaning over distraction. Reclaim your autonomy. Live a life of true fulfillment. What will you choose? Continue following fleeting desires, or rise above and embrace intentional living with purpose. The choice is yours. This journey is not just about improving your life, but inspiring others to do the same. Share your thoughts and victories. Together, we can build a world where freedom is not a forgotten ideal, but a lived reality. This is your moment to awaken. The chains are invisible, but breakable. The path is steep, but leads to greatness. Choose wisely and step boldly into the life you were meant to live.